Today's story comes all the way from Japan, a bizarre tale that's considered solved by local police. But many people think it hasn't been solved yet, and there are several theories as to what actually may have happened. Today I'm going to tell you this story, and then at the end, I'll tell you 9 suspicious details about the case, and then I want you to chime in the comment section on what you think actually happened here. Hello strangers and strangelings, welcome back to the Strange Bar and Grill. I'm serving up another true crime story time, so pull up a chair if you like strange true crime and storytelling, then this is the place to be, here with me, JP. So kick back and grab a drink or a snack, and remember to always tip that like button because it helps with the channel, and join that SBG family by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to make sure you're getting notified when I release a weekly video. Alright, let's go! What's that in my toilet? On Friday, 24th of February, 1989, Japan has officially said its goodbye to the recently passed Showa emperor. A state funeral was held that very day, and many workers were granted a free day from their duties. An elementary school teacher, Asami, her actual name was unknown, is one of those lucky ones. Free Friday means an extra long weekend, granting her plenty of time to spend at her family home. And Asami did just that. She got to spend the long weekend with her family before having to return to work that following Monday. And around 6 in the evening on 1989, February 28th in Mayakoji Village, Tamura District, Asami just ended her day. It was winter and the weather was piercingly cold. The teacher briskly walked back to her dormitory, not far away from the school. She stayed in a single room, and there's also an attached toilet in each of those rooms. The building back then was not well developed, especially in a mountain village. The toilet was a squatting toilet, and right underneath the squat pan was the septic tank. The septic tank was a U-shaped pipe where one end is linked to the squatting pan and the other is linked to the sewage outlet. The sewage outlet was located outdoors. Every once in a while, someone would manually open the lid and empty the septic tank. That night when using the toilet, Asami casually looked into the pit and noticed a shoe. She was shocked and she ran outside to open the septic lid. To the shock of her life, she saw a human leg in the waste. Startled, she screamed and ran to call her principal and colleagues. One of her colleagues informed the police. Hugging a neatly folded shirt, he was lying on his back with his face kind of looking up. It was sort of like he was peeping up through the toilet hole, as if he was trying to catch women going to the toilet. He was also topless and barefoot. The body was thoroughly cleaned twice before the autopsy could be performed. Soon after the cleaning, the man was identified. He was Naoyuki Kanno, a 26-year-old young promising man well known in the village. Now, Yuko had been missing since February 24th and found dead on the 28th in that septic pipe of the female teacher's dormitory. According to the forensics, now Yuko was believed to have died on the 26th. And other than some minor scratches on the elbow and knee, there was no noticeable trauma and signs of homicide. Police concluded and closed the case as an accidental death, which is Naoyuki Kanno was trying to peep women and died from hypothermia. Naoyuki's father and villagers were outraged by such a conclusion simply because everyone knew Naoyuki. Naoyuki was best known as a reliable and sociable person, a sales manager of a company supporting the nuclear power plants. The villagers knew him well enough to know that it was totally impossible to associate him as a perverted voyeur. There were just too many things that just clearly didn't add up here. So again, like I said, that's the gist of this story. The police concluded that he was being a peeping Tom and he wedged his way into these pipes and got stuck and ultimately died in these pipes. But there's too many suspicious things here, and I'm going to get into the first one here. 1 of 9. So how did he get into the septic pipe? The septic pipe has a symmetrical design and a diameter of 14 inches. One end was located outdoors while the other end was located in the toilet inside. The indoor toilet was installed with a squatting pan with an opening of only 8 inches. So one can only enter through the outdoor opening. The height of Naoyuki was 5 feet 7 inches. According to the data released by the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry, the average shoulder width of men between 25 and 29 years old in Japan is 16 inches. The diameter of the septic opening was only 14 inches. Therefore, it's impossible to get inside this pipe all by yourself, and to also be able to squeeze into that pipe and then get into that posture that Naoyuki was found in. It seemed pretty impossible. And later, Naoyuki's father used the cutout septic pipe to reenact the crime scene. He realized that with or without clothing, there's really no way to get into that pipe. Assuming that Naoyuki was really desperate to peep women, how would he not know that it was impossible to get into the pipe, much less to come out unscathed? Also, who in their right mind would want to get in a septic pipe and submerge themselves in feces? And who could even sustain that long in such a nasty, foul odor? But I have heard of people that are into this, where they hide in outhouses and porta potties and just want people to, do their business on them. We won't get into that because I gotta eat lunch here in a little bit, so let's get that out of our minds. Being happy thoughts. The second suspicious thing is there was no traumatic injuries. Given the size of the pipe, whether being forced in or getting in on his own, it's pretty much impossible beyond some reasonable doubt, right? However, Naoyuki was found with only minor scratches on the elbow and knee. No other traumatic injuries were actually found. And that brings us to our third suspicious thing, the weird posture and behavior. So in February, it was still freezingly cold in Fukushima. It's even colder in a wet and sludgy septic tank. The snow was 8 inches thick on the day of Naoyuki's death. Now, not only was Naoyuki found topless in extremely cold weather, what was even more strange was that he was holding his clothes in his arms. And let's just give the benefit of the doubt here that he was truly desperate to stare at women's body parts as they went to the bathroom, but it just wasn't even possible to even see things under the dim light. And again, if you were into that stuff, you probably wouldn't even care if you're like people doing number twos and stuff on top of you and think happy thoughts, get that out of your mind. And the fourth suspicion, his shoes. Naoyuki was found barefoot. Police searched through the septic pipe and found only one shoe, and this shoe was later confirmed to belong to Naoyuki. The shoe was found near the head position, so again, towards his head, which was where the teacher saw at the beginning. However, there was only one shoe on the scene. The police managed to find another shoe on the riverbed, which was quite a distance away from the actual crime scene. So why do these two shoes appear in different places so far apart? And our fifth suspicious thing, the female teacher. Was she a suspect? Some suspected that the teacher, Asami, might have killed Naoyuki. The toilet at night was poorly lit and the pit was deep. How could she possibly have spotted the shoe? Also, the moment she saw the shoe, instead of calling for help, she opened the septic lid all on her own. Could it be that the teacher had murdered Naoyuki and framed it as an accidental death? Naoyuki became acquainted with the teacher, Asami, through her boyfriend. They knew each other well. Once upon a time, the teacher had some harassing phone calls, and Naoyuki and her boyfriend helped record the calls and handed those tapes over to the police. Naoyuki even assisted in the investigation of the harassing phone calls, and from here, it's pretty clear that Naoyuki had a close and good relationship with Asami and her boyfriend. They actually knew each other's schedules pretty well, but in the end, these speculations couldn't be substantiated by any motives or concrete evidence. And the sixth suspicious thing is the timeline. Now, Naoyuki's body was found on February 28th, and he was believed to have died on the 26th. The last person that saw him alive was his father. And according to his father, on the 24th around 10 in the morning, while he was watching TV in the living room, Naoyuki told him that he was going out to run a few errands. And since then, no one had seen him. And February 24th happened to be the funeral of Japan Emperor Showa, so those few days were Japan's National Memorial Day, and everyone was on vacation. The teacher had taken leave from February 24th to the 27th and went back home. During this period of time, she's not in the dormitory at all, and Naoyuki knew about her leave as well. And probably he might have been in the tank already on the 24th. The date of the death was on the 26th. He knew that the female teacher would come back on the 28th. There is no reason why he would brace the cold weather without food and water by getting into the pipe 2 days in advance just to watch her sit on the toilet. And the seventh suspicious thing is Naoyuki's car. Police found Naoyuki's car near the crime scene. The car was parked in the lot near the dormitory. The car key was in the ignition and the door wasn't locked. It seemed like Naoyuki didn't plan to park there for long, more like a quick stopover. And the eighth suspicious thing is the nuclear power plant conspiracy. So just a month before Naoyuki's death, there was an incident in the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. A welded joint in a circulating pump of reactor number 3 gave way, causing a massive amount of metal fragment leakage. Eventually, the reactor number 3 was shut down. The person in charge of this reactor was a colleague of Naoyuki, and he committed suicide soon after. Could there be some sort of connection between this incident and Naoyuki's death? And the ninth and final suspicious thing was political persecution, the village chief election. So just 10 days before Naoyuki's death, there was a vigorous election of the village chief. Naoyuki was asked to lobby for one of the candidates because of his outstanding eloquence. Back then, there were two camps of thought towards the nuclear power plants, the supporters and the opposers. Supporters think that nuclear power plants can create jobs and stimulate the local economy. Opposers are concerned of the harmful effects it would bring about. The two parties fought hard and sought resolution from the village chief, who kind of held certain weight in determining whether the nuclear power plant could stay put or not. Rumor has it that Naoyuki might have unwittingly stumbled upon the shady politics in the election. And judging from the timeline and the motive for the crime, it's too coincidental that Naoyuki's death took place right after the election. Now, despite the many suspicions that didn't quite add up, the police closed the case, and it was concluded that it was an accidental death due to hypothermia. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And if you guys are new to my channel, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, join that SBG family, and check out some more videos. But anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today. Be safe, be good,